out of parts of the CBD as well. Some residents are panic buying at supermarkets. Now, the surge of water is on its way here, with predictions it'll be worse than 1974. 6,500 properties are expected to be flooded in Brisbane, with another 16,000 affected in some way. The RNA Showgrounds has been set up as an evacuation centre.
Queensland's flood crisis hit home across Brisbane today, panic seeping into communities as the river tore through the city heart.
We are now in a very frightening experience.
Frightening and costly. Residents in the Centenary suburbs watched helplessly as hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property swept away this morning.
I've never seen it like this at all. I mean, there's a pontoon that's been built for the rowing club so they can access the boats and the river, and that's been completely smashed.
At Jindalee, parks, pontoons and boat ramps were swallowed.
The rate that the water's coming down there is just unbelievable.
And just so hard to predict. Authorities knew Brisbane's flood crisis would be bad, but no one expected such high peaks.
Now is not a time for panic. It is a time for us to stick together, to reach out to each other and to listen to the advice from our emergency workers.
The Ivanhoe Dam, which for weeks has protected Brisbane communities, can no longer. All 5 gates must continue to open to relieve the bursting flood compartment.
I stress that the releases being made from Ivanhoe Dam are not optional. There is no discretion here. This is how this dam operates.
The city's Disaster Management Advisory Committee now warns as many as 6,500 residential and commercial properties will be inundated and another 16,500 partly flooded. In West End, residents weren't taking any chances, leaving their homes.
Yes, I'm packing my case now to go when the policeman says we have to get out.
My greatest fear is for the safety and the well-being of our community. I don't want anybody to die in Brisbane.
If you live on high ground in Brisbane, now is a time to be reaching out to friends and offering help and offering, where necessary, a bed for the night.
This is only going to get worse. Authorities are now warning the river levels will increase tomorrow and reach their highest peak on Thursday.
The river will continue to rise into Thursday, with flood levels expected higher than the 1974 peak.
At this stage, the river is expected to peak beyond the catastrophic 5.45 metres, which swamped the city 37 years ago.
It's terrible. It's shocking. We haven't seen the worst to come yet. I mean, people suffering so badly. It's just awful.
54 Brisbane suburbs have been inundated. Along the CBD foreshore, police weren't taking any chances during this afternoon's high tide, forcing people to evacuate. Restaurants shut down. Across the city, it's a mess. 900 streets have now been swamped. Off Coronation Drive and along Milton Road, the main arterials are hardly recognisable. Landslides have cut off roads at Mount Nebo and Debra, and the queues for sandbags at council depots just get longer and longer.
How many bags do you reckon you'll pull today? Wouldn't have a chance to count, mate, honestly.
Evacuation centres have been set up across the city. They can shelter 3,500 people. Those bunkering down have rushed supermarkets in a wave of panic buying.
Where possible, stay at home.
This is why peak hours struck at 1 p.m. as people left work early, desperate to get safely home. Ferry and CityCat services remain cancelled indefinitely. The water ensuring a transport nightmare for many in coming days and a rare ride for risk takers. The suburbs most at risk can be found on the 7 News website. Kim Scubris, 7 News.